Hi and welcome back for another CottageCutz YouTube video tutorial. This is Marla with Mad About Cards and Crafts. We are moving on from Christmas, and today I'm bringing you a card featuring the strawberry plant, which was part of the Black Friday release. I am going to be giving this die away, so stay tuned to see how you can win. We are going to be talking about coloring our die cuts with spray stains. I'm going to share 3 different ones that I have in my crafty stash. These are just a few of them. I have from Brutus Monroe their Chroma Mist, and then from Ranger Tim Holtz I have a mica spray stain, which has that mica at the bottom. There is a ball within this bottle, which you must shake the bottle vigorously to get that mica stain incorporated into the color. And then I also have Color Bloom sprays, which also have a ball that will mix the color into what is basically a water mixture. So let's talk about how these sprays work. I wanted to just talk about the fact that all sprays are not created equal. So here we're starting with the Brutus Monroe Chroma Mist. I started with cobalt blue and leaf green, and I'm spraying those together, and then I'm going to spritz it with some water. Now the water is going to slightly move the color, but you'll notice that I have those high concentrated areas where it bloomed out a little bit, but it really didn't move. So those colors, the Chroma Mist sprays, they are not going to have the same movement as this Distress Mica stain. Now I sprayed it with Tree Lot, and this Distress Mica spray stain is going to react with water. I can spritz water as I showed you with that slow release and get water droplets. I can put it in my hands and I can clap over it, and it's going to give me texture from the water. I could add my paper towel over the top and lift even more of that color off. I then went over it again with the cobalt blue and with the leaf green because I wanted to add that additional texture. So they all layer nicely on top of each other, but they all don't play the same way. Anything from Ranger is going to really work well with water to add additional texture. The Chroma Mist layers nicely together, but it really doesn't play as nicely. Now, I die cut out my leaves from the green cardstock that we created. Now I am moving on to my strawberries. So I started with the Distress Mica stain in Sugary Gumdrop, and then my Brutus Monroe Chroma Mist in Candy Apple was clogged. I was able to unclog it by running it through my sink later on, but what I ended up doing was just tapping it on, and I'm doing the same thing with this Color Bloom Plumeria, and I'm just adding the droplets over the top. Again, you can see that when I add the water to both of these, the Chroma Mist and to the Color Blooms, that I get a little bit of blooming, but the colors are not going to run and meld together as nicely as these Ranger mica stains. So I came in again with the mica stains. This time I added a color called Yuletide, which is a darker red, and then I added a little bit more of that Sugary Gumdrop. Again, I'm splattering water over the top of it now because I am going to be able to get that texture with the water. You can see that the colors are still showing up nicely from the Chroma Mist and from the Color Blooms underneath. So I'm getting texture by using these other stains, but again, I'm not going to get the movement. So I die cut my strawberries out, and now I'm just going to use the Color Blooms. For this one, I have Sunshine. You'll notice that I don't use much water with this because I know that I'm not going to get much movement. So I sprayed the Sunshine over the top, and then I splattered on the gold foil to give it a little bit of texture, spritzed a little bit of that water to get that blooming, and then I went ahead and die cut my flower pieces off camera. I have a Tim Holtz embossing folder that I am using to add a little bit of texture to my background. So I want these spray stained dies to really be the focal point and highlight on my card. So I'm going to keep my background really clean and simple, but I'm going to add a lot of interest by adding layers. So I had a die cut from my stash, that lacy one, and I cut that and I added it to the top of an A2 top folding card base. And then I have my embossed layer using that Tim Holtz embossing folder. Now it's a 3D embossing folder. It has a lot of texture on it, so it doesn't want to adhere as nicely as it would if it were a flat piece of cardstock. So all of the paper that I've used, even for my spray stains, was accent opaque cardstock. I cut this layer down to 3 3/4 by 3 3/4 by 5, I believe. And once I got everything layered together, I'm sprayed another scrap piece of paper with that gold foil from Color Bloom, and I cut out the sentiment from the sentiment "Thank you very much." I had already layered 2 of them together. I used some cream cardstock because I was using the gold. The cream was going to be a nice backdrop from the sides, more so than if I used white cardstock. So I just added that additional layer when I cut out the gold over on top of that. And now I have a sentiment that is 3 layers deep. It's going to give that nice chipboard feel that I always talk about, a little bit of dimension on the card without adding any of the foam tape. So here are my die cut pieces put together. I did not follow the packaging. If you are trying to figure out how to assemble the berries, you certainly can go with what is on the packaging, and it would be very easy for you to add your strawberries and your flowers. I wanted to create 2 different clusters, so you can just kind of go look at the packaging and then make your own determination on where you want to put your strawberries and your flowers, which is what I did here. For some areas that had only 1 stem for the strawberries, I went ahead and added 2 strawberries. Some of the areas that were supposed to have flowers, I added strawberries there, just to give each of the die cuts a little bit of a different look so that they didn't look identical. And then I used my die cuts, so the strawberries, I laid them out on my card, and I just tried to figure out where the best place was to put my sentiment, where it was going to fit nicely, so the strawberries would complement the sentiment. And I'm just going to adhere those to the top, aligning them. I'm eyeing them. I'm not using a T-square ruler on this one because I think that it has more of a whimsical feel, and I don't think that it needs to be perfectly aligned. Now, if you watched my last video, I was giving away the thank you die, and I did want to mention that the winner from my last video of that thank you die is Kim Burkhardt. Kim, you can contact Mary Marsh. I will have her information linked in the description box below. Just send her an email, let her know that you are the lucky winner, and she will respond and get that die out to you. So congratulations. If you would like to win the strawberry plant die, all you need to do is like the video, make sure that you are subscribed, and leave a comment. Now, this is only open to those that have a United States mailing address. Unfortunately, because of the cost of postage, we are unable to mail outside the United States. So if you live within the U.S. or have a U.S. mailing address, just leave a comment, like the video, and make sure that you're a subscriber, and you will be entered to win. I will make the announcement of the winner in my next video. So excuse me, I figured out how I want my strawberries arranged around my sentiment, and I'm just adding that glue to the back of the sentiment, or to the plant, and I'll attach it. And then I am going to adjust some of the leaves. So there is a leaf that is kind of covering up the thank you. And what I'm going to do is I will just lift that up, and I will kind of bend it more towards the left of the card, which is going to move it away from that sentiment so it's not covered as much. I'm going to use my guillotine trimmer to trim off any of the pieces that are overhanging. There's a piece at the top. I just went ahead and used my scissors to cut off that piece. But when I did that trimming, I had this strawberry that was almost full. So I'm just trying to figure out if there's a place that it would work on the card so that I'm not throwing that piece away. I do end up settling on that spot right there, but as I mentioned, I do need to move that leaf first. So I'll carefully lift it up. I made sure not to glue the leaves entirely down because I do like to fluff them and give them a little bit of movement. And then once I tuck that little strawberry in, that will complete my card for today. So I love the idea of strawberries. I am not a winter girl, so I am ready to move on to spring and all things garden and flowers. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to give it a big thumbs up. And until next time, I hope you have a fabulous day. Thanks so much for watching.